Question: which of these pieces of paper is more valuable? Don't worry, there are no wrong answers. Let me tell you why. Because the power of any particular object originates from the amount of value that we subjectively place on it. And for some reason, it's this green sheet of paper. A sheet of paper that was introduced by the British king during the 17th century.
The crowd start to cheer, and then someone yelled out, "The king is here!"
Since the idea of bartering materials was insufficient,
It's just me against the world, baby.
Me against the world.
the British Parliament started issuing paper currency called continentals. The purpose of continentals was to be a method of exchange for physical currency, i.e. gold and silver, because gold and silver are the actual units of currency. Now, according to the legal definition of money, money is in usual and ordinary acceptation. It means coins and paper currency used as circulating medium of exchange, and does not embrace notes, bonds, evidences of debt, or any other personal or real estate. After the Civil War, people started placing their gold and silver into banks for storage of their valuables. Banks then started issuing out banknotes that reflected the actual balance of the gold and silver in their accounts. People started to notice the effectiveness of the banknote and started to use that instead of their own gold and silver. With the banknote, it allowed people the ability to trade more efficiently than buying with their own currency. Then banks took notice and started creating more banknotes that didn't naturally reflect the account of the growing population of citizens in the country, and thus placed the country into a financial stupor. The Panic of 1907, for example, occurred after the bank's ability to market and sell gold and silver at an affordable price failed, forcing the country into bankruptcy. So, to remedy this issue, the government created the Federal Reserve Bank in 1913, which gave citizens a more efficient form of currency. Federal Reserve notes, which are promissory notes that were backed by gold and silver. This was known as the gold standard. It was the first ever legitimate form of legalized currency because it had support from the most valuable yet limited assets, gold and silver. That is what money was. The issue, however, was that Congress didn't have enough gold and silver itself to back up the Federal Reserve notes. Now, you see, gold and silver were and still are precious metals that's scarce in their own supply. For the value of gold to remain high, the amount of gold needed for trading needs to fall, which is why most people invest in gold instead of purchasing. In order for prices in gold to fluctuate, the gold standard had to be abolished. In 1933, Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed an executive order that removed the United States off the gold standard. Citizens were now ordered to remove gold coin, bullion, and certificates in exchange for new Federal Reserve notes. New Federal Reserve notes that now read the imprint. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable with lawful money at the United States Treasury or any Federal Reserve Bank. Yet gold could still be purchased at 35 Federal Reserve notes an ounce. And on August 15, 1971, Richard Nixon abandoned the gold standard completely by announcing that the United States would no longer be able to convert dollars into gold. And the Federal Reserve note has been our unit of currency ever since. And now the new note contains the following imprint. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Now, let's look at this following inscription closely. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. But wait, what about what we read earlier about money? In usual and ordinary acceptation, it means coins and paper currency used as circulating medium of exchange, and does not embrace notes, bonds, evidences of debt, or any other personal or real estate. So, this green sheet of paper, known as the Federal Reserve note, cannot possibly be money, the dollar, or currency because it is a legally binding promissory note. This note is not payment, but evidence of debt. How is it evidence of debt? Because the Federal Reserve note is one of the many examples of fiat currency, i.e. fake currency. A currency that's not backed by a physical commodity. A currency whose power is dictated by the arbitrary order of the state. A currency that's powerful because the state says so.
Cash rules everything.
but your faith in a subjective being.
It's functional.
Where there is a God, there is currency. In God, we trust. To deny the dollar is to deny God. To deny God is to deny man. To deny man is to, in this case, deny the subjective value of the dollar. So how can you pay, buy, or purchase anything with a Federal Reserve note? You can't. With a Federal Reserve note, you only defer postpone payments, so a debt is sure to develop when anything other than gold and silver is used as payment for an ample period of time. Federal Reserve notes are inflationary. Gold and silver are deflationary. Federal Reserve notes increases debt. Gold and silver satisfies and eliminates debt. Does it make sense now? And this is more the fault of Congress more than it is of the fault of the citizens. Because Congress overstepped the limitation of its respective powers. You see, according to Article 1, Sections 8 and 10 of the U.S. Constitution, Congress only has the power to borrow money on the credit of the United States and coin money, i.e. gold and silver, and regulate the value thereof. And no state shall coin money, emit bills of credit, and make anything but gold and silver coin a tender of payment of debts, and pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. Now where within those two clauses that I just read to you does it say Congress has the legal authority to process, create, and distribute their own form of currency? That's counterfeiting, which is illegal, unconstitutional, and informs us concisely on the actual nature of the Federal Reserve Bank. The Federal Reserve Bank is a fiat printing press printing counterfeit bills off to the masses, thereby making citizens solely responsible for paying off the national debt. We are in possession of evidence of debt, courtesy of the Federal Reserve and Congress, who are the culprits of the largest Ponzi scheme that this country has never known about. Till now, people, with this note, you never paid anything off. You never paid for anything. It's not backed by anything but faith. It's not money, but legal tender. It's not even a dollar, but an offer. It's not payment, but a deferment. And when you defer payment, you're withholding payment, creating debt. We are literally indebted to every single last establishment that we come in contact with as long as we have this note in our possession. It does not take money to submit the brick and construct a building. It does not take money to design the new advanced form of technology that we'll all take advantage of the moment it debuts. It does not take money to place a roof over my head. It does not take money in order for me to go to college. It does not take money for me to survive. Money never, nor has it ever existed. Money is an illusion. Early on, we have been taught that money reflects our creative labor, not the establishment of our finished product, that it represents wealth in lieu of knowledge. When we accept that a green sheet of paper, or gold and silver, or a two-piece combo with a biscuit, though, represents currency, we also accept the subjectivity of the person who originally displayed value on said object by continuing to add admissions on its specified value. The only reason that the Federal Reserve note is powerful is because we have been taught to believe that it is, and we have eluded ourselves in the belief that it's worthy of attention, when it isn't. And who's to say that gold and silver is valuable either? That's fiat currency as well, because what is that backed by? Nothing. But the belief that it is powerful by the unsuspecting common folk. The only one who is defeating us is us. For unknowingly fabricating the reality that has resulted in the demise of our own sanity and well-being. Do you want to completely end poverty? Do you want to end the idea of currency? Do you want our means of survival to not be held hostage? Have you lost faith in the Federal Reserve note? Do you want to end the Federal Reserve? Would you like to put an end to the endless array of people who enforce superiority complexes on those who perceive people who will lack a sufficient amount of Federal Reserve notes as broke when they are just as broke, if not severely destitute, for having them? And share this video, like this video, leave a comment, and familiarize yourself with the attribute BlackViewTV so that we can inform others on the methods of chicanery committed by the government. Because an effective revolution is not a protest or a march, but a rapid change of consciousness. Thank you.